Welcome to the Don't Hide the Scars podcast. I'm Jason LaChance. I'm here with the founder of Pain, Mr. Flindt Anderson. How are we, good sir?
I'm good, Jason. Same as always. How about you?
I do well. I do well. Thank you for asking. And we're going to continue to dig into our what you need to know. And one of those important elements of recovery, well, I guess it's four elements of it that are key areas, so to speak. Your home, your community, purpose, and spirituality. Because these are just things that we continue to talk about and come up. What's the home life like? That's an important element. What community are you connecting to, right? Those that you spend time with outside of there. Are you finding a sense of purpose and fulfillment? And of course, that a very important element, at least for me, was the primary one of spirituality, a sense of faith. So just kind of want to dig in around that. I mean, you've worked with folks way longer than me and doing the support groups for loved ones for, well over a decade and a half. That home element is such a huge part of it. And you speak to it all the time, this kind of support that the returning addict will need in the home and those quote unquote home-like environments, holiday situations and so
Yeah.
forth that are there. I mean, it's a key part of it. Was for me. I'm lucky that I had, dad in recovery, long-term sobriety, that it wasn't really an issue for me come holiday settings and situations. But for many people, it is.
Yeah. No, spirituality is at least in my opinion, is a key part of one's recovery. It's but there's there's a this is a huge topic.
Yeah.
Okay. This isn't something that's light or should be taken lightly. But again, I am a huge proponent of one's spirituality in this. And I guess what I can do is I can go back many years when I spoke at an AA meeting one time, and I stood up there and I said, "Listen," I said, "you know, if you're a newcomer, and you're within that 30-day period, and you're worshiping that doorknob that's sitting over there, or that mountain range that we see outside the window," I said, "I don't have a problem with that." Okay, I don't even have I don't even have a problem with it for longer than a month. Okay, I said, but if you're worshiping that doorknob 6 months into your recovery, I'm going to question it.
Mm.
Because that doorknob is an inanimate object. It doesn't do anything. There is something phony going on. And I don't mean that negatively. It's just that there's something that's not right. And at some point, that's going to fall away. Okay. That's going to fall away. And so I am more along the belief of, again, I have a faith. My higher power is God, okay, and his son. And so I don't have an issue with that at all. And I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody how to believe somewhere. I'm not going to do it. I think what most believers can do at this point is actually show people
Mm.
what God is doing in their life, because people are going to see it.
Yeah.
They're going to see it. And that doesn't mean you're going to have an great every day. Okay. It doesn't mean you're going to even have a great year. All right. I mean, it goes deeper than that, a lot deeper than that. So I think everybody kind of needs to start there,
Hmm.
a little bit. And again, this is a progressive disease. So this needs to be a progressive recovery, because recovery doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come in 30 days or 90 days or 120 days, or hell, sometimes it doesn't come forever, so that's progressive in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to treat your faith like that until you finally get to the point where you go, okay, I'm going to go this way or I'm going to go that way.
Yeah, and I totally get what for those like, what are you talking about? A doorknob. I get what you're saying is it gives us a focal point to start, but it is about much like through why we say recovery journey. And I know some people, well, that's really feel goody, and it's like, well, because it is feel good. This thing of recovery feels really good. I feel better now than I did 4.5 years ago.
Right.
It's and much like that with spirituality and exploration of faith, it's just that. It's a journey. It's an exploration. Embrace that part of it. Embrace that it is going to be a personal relationship, and we'll just use the word God because it's easier to use. I hear source and spirit and all these different things, and hey, valid for the individuals, and that's how they use it. So you and I will use God, and we are of Christian faith, and we don't hide that, nor should we. Um, and so, yeah, it's an explorative part of the journey and what that means to you. And I think that ties in with the next thing I want to talk about with purpose, because I don't think you can truly find purpose if you don't start to understand values. And if you don't understand faith within your value set and believing in something more than you from a selfish standpoint, it's like we can refund your misery and you can go back. But for me, that's where faith rolled into the foundation of my value sets that helped me find purpose is knowing that I was here to serve a greater good and bring gifts that were given to me to share with others and help others. And so I think that's an important key element when we start to talk about people, that we hear purpose all, you just got to find a purpose. Well, most people don't know what the hell that is unless you say, okay, what do you value? Like, tell us what you value. Okay, then let's dig from what you value and go from there. And then you can start digging into purpose.
Well, again, I truly think this. I truly believe that people that are new in recovery, they don't know what their values are at that point. They were taught certain values by mom and dad or whoever, and so they do have those certain values, but those values kind of go out the window in in the course of our using. Because if you think you're keeping your values while you're using, you're completely full of shit. You
Mm,
know, I don't care what anybody says, but those values come back. Okay, those values do come back. They've been taught to you forever. But when somebody gets into recovery, and then you said a key word, it's that helping others. I just don't think people take enough time to literally find out what those values are again, start practicing those values again, and continue with your recovery for some length of time. Instead, what we have are people that want to help people all of a sudden. And oh yeah, I've been clean 6 months. I'm going to become a counselor now. I'm going to go become a tech somewhere. That's the last damn thing you need to be doing. Okay, at that point, again, I don't care what anybody says.
mm,
It's you're a lot of people in recovery. Your we'll just say your value to the recovering community could be just living a good life.
yeah.
That's all it could be. Not everybody is meant for this business. Not everybody in recovery is meant for this business. By the way, this business is not your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Your recovery is separate from if you work in treatment.
Yeah. That's one
You
thing you
know,
reminded me of when I started at Pain.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. It takes a certain mindset. I have seen over 16 years, I have seen many people come and go, relapse because they're working in treatment, because something triggered them, something went haywire, and I believe in all that. So especially in new recovery. So I've seen people just literally by the hundreds, that have walked away, stepped away, have relapsed because of it time and time and time again. So get back to what your values are, reassess those. By the way, make sure you agree with them. I'm sure there's some values that may change somewhere down the line, and that's okay. But make sure you're practicing those values. And now, in the meantime, okay, your faith is about a lot of what values are. And if you're screwing up those values, then your faith, call that God, okay, he's going to remind you
Mm,
that you're not living up to them. And sometimes that's just by the guilt of doing something. So, again, it's a long road. It's an extremely long road. But as AA says, we strive for progress, not perfection. We're never going to be perfect in this. I don't want that as an excuse, but none of us are perfect. None of us are going to be perfect. None of us are going to die perfect. None of us certainly weren't born. Well, we might have been born perfect, but you know, um, we're certainly going to die imperfect.
Yeah.
So continue to strive for that.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised, top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect, in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com. Well, and that's that important, like you said, of that passage being in there, and the big book, the AA book, the spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection, and I think that we, as especially someone like me, a binger, I like things big and whatever, and I certainly was. I'm going to change and save the world. I couldn't even, do do certain things still yet clear headed. I had to kind of watch what I say there.
Right.
Many of things. And really, the most helpful thing I could do was the acceptance of something small. I've heard it like, man, it sucks. I keep hitting these meetings and they ask me to brew the coffee or put out the cookies or whatever else it is. And so for anyone listening, it's like, that's so you can start small. Like, go ahead and manage it. Like you've talked about the plant. Why do we get the plant? Well, it's just that ability. Like, okay, you're starting to take care of yourself. This is also about taking care of something else and taking on responsibility. Like, yes, of course, but you get a plant. You don't want a healthy ficus to die, but it's still just taking care of a plant at the end of the day. But it is
Absolutely.
taking on this gradual responsibility that is external of that self-focused care.
Yeah, look, I just thought of something here. And by the way, I agree with what you're saying 100%. But I just thought of this, kind of going back to, wanting to help others. Okay.
Mm,
And I'm going to say it, there's a lot of us, okay, that we're here because we want to be here. We've given up a lot.
mm,
And I mean that. And I'm talking about the world. Okay. I'm just talking about worldly things that we have given up for this. And I'm okay with it, you know. But here's the difference between somebody that is meant to do what we do or somebody that is not.
mm.
And I guess I have to add that not everybody that works in this field, there's a bunch that are not. And it's okay, right? But you can't say that you are when you're not. And what I mean by that is this. There's a group of people I know. And this group obviously knows that I don't obviously don't use and I obviously don't drink. And every time we're somewhere, I will I notice everything. And I will follow somebody home. Sometimes they live close by. Sometimes they live a distance by. And I will follow them home without them even knowing it. Now, sometimes somebody else will know, all right, because somebody will come up to me and go, hey, man, this guy, okay, right? Well, I've done that for years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect anything from it. They don't even know I'm following them. They don't have a clue. And again, I'm not trying to say this to make myself look great, all right? Because again, this is just what I do. That's how serious I take this thing. And by the way, I don't even have to take it serious anymore. It's part of me.
Right.
It's innate. It's just, you just do it without even thinking about it. You leave early, you're going to follow this person home because I don't want to see this person. By the way, it may not be their fault, but it may be somebody else's.
Yeah.
In an accident somewhere or something. And all of a sudden, my friend, their ass is going to jail. So I follow them just to make sure. To me, that's the difference, of somebody that truly, and there's a lot of us that do that as well.
Yeah.
So I think that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somehow.
Yeah, that next element, let's dive into that sense of community. And we've talked about this. We did a whole episode solely focused on it, which people can go back through the archives, either on YouTube or the podcast version on Apple Podcast or Spotify. But again, it goes back to that importance of identifying people, places, things. And so talking about that, the community is places and people all and things all wrapped in one. What are you going to continue to go to? It's like the people that have 30 days under their belt and they decide, oh, I'm going to just go get together with my friends at the bar. Like, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? No, I miss my friends. Do you really miss them? Is it them?
Or do you miss that smell of walking into the bar?
Yeah. Yeah, that possibility for me is always the possibility. Might I see that cute smile from across the way or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah, all that stuff. So it's important to identify those things when we start reestablishing our sense of community and why we encourage people. I know, coming out of, like New Perceptions North or anywhere, it's like you get right in the middle of that recovery community and you stay there in the middle of that herd so you don't get picked off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's like you're like a baby elephant. All right, you want to be surrounded by the moms and the dads. That they're going to kick anybody's ass that gets close to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need that at this point. Again, it amazes me to see these people with 30, 60, 90 days and their asses in a bar. First of all, what are you even doing there? What are you even doing there? I don't care if you're an opiate addict. I don't care if you're a heroin addict, but you still wind up going to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of there. I don't care what anybody says, what some professor says, some therapist says. I could give two shits. Okay, you don't go there. It's that simple. Even in my first 4 years, 5 years, even on an occasion today. Well, first of all, I can't remember the last time I've been to an actual bar at night, unless it was attached to a restaurant somewhere
or a golf course.
Yeah. But I will go in and I will make sure that what I'm drinking, and normally it's either Mountain Dew or Pepsi, okay, or tea, iced tea. I will make sure that it is in that proper glass.
Yep.
Sometimes I put it in a coffee cup. I will have a straw with it. I won't use it, but I'll put the straw. I hate straws, but I'll put the straw in there because I just want to make other people feel comfortable.
Mm.
I don't want somebody, I know what I'm doing, but I don't want somebody else going, I saw Flindt Anderson at this bar the other night, and he had a drink in front of him. Well, yeah, numbnuts, come on over. It's iced tea. But when you're 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, sometimes 2 years, and you're at a bar and you're having that drink, even if there's Pepsi in that glass, because your recovery is still new. It's still new in everybody's mind what you did in the past. People will forgive. They will not forget. Even 25 years later, nobody's forgotten. Well, they've forgotten some of the things I've done, but some of the real bad things that I did, nobody's forgotten those.
Yeah.
So even when they see my temper flaring a little bit, or they see me getting upset, anxiety ridden, or whatever the case, I mean, the red flags go up on those that are closest to you.
Yeah.
And so if you've got people, and they know you by now, but if you've got people that are out in your community, that see that, wow, look out.
Hmm. Yeah, I had a good personal example the other day. Was out and about having a early dinner in the place that I was at. I will have a non-alcoholic beer from time to time, zero point 0.0. And they did have it at this place, and what I was eating, oh, that might sound good, but then it said it was on tap. And so I
Mm,
played out a story in my head and I went, this place is slammed. I could easily see them going because it was a bigger name brand, getting the wrong thing, that being what comes. So for me, it's that level of discernment around it too. It was like if it was in the bottle and I could literally see on the label that that's exactly what it was, might have been a different story. But when it said this is on tap, I went, no, I'm not going to even take that risk at this time.
right.
You know,
Right. I
like
mean,
yeah, it's no big deal. Plus, I can relate to what you're saying too about like for me putting the straw in the drink or whatever. That's also my safeguard too, to know what is mine. Like I'm like you, I will sit, and again, that's why if I was able to walk over wherever they would have poured this non-alcoholic beer and watch them pour it from the guaranteed tap, maybe different story. But that's how protective I am because I have been incorrectly served. We talked about it on a podcast, geez, it's like 2.5 years ago, and playing out the tape real quick and telling them the missus about it and like being like, oh, they did. I didn't swallow it. I could taste it, spit it out immediately, went, got a non-alcoholic drink. I was just ordering tonic
yep.
water with lime. I like that, or soda water with lime. So those kind of things too. Plus, okay, it makes me feel, I want to be social to a certain extent. Like if people are getting plowed, it's like, bye, no explanation. I don't even
I'm
necessarily,
out.
what
I'm
is it?
out.
The
Yeah.
Irish goodbye, or I forget what it is, where
It's an Irish goodbye, man.
yeah, just
You just
leave.
leave. That's
Yeah.
that's it. Nobody even knows. They go, what the hell? Where'd he go? Irish goodbye, baby. Yeah.
Yep. So,
But
so
but
it's
but
important.
here's the other thing to think about. And I've thought about this over the last few years. Look, I don't care who you are. All right. We all have people that they either don't care for us, they don't like what we did, they don't like what we do now, blah, 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 on and on. This society is so ass backwards, it just is. But I've also thought about being roofied,
Mm,
from time to time, because if there's some of us that are doing what we're doing, and somebody gets in there and puts something in our Pepsi, or put something in our iced tea, and we start acting like we're falling asleep or getting goofy or doing whatever, it's now you're going to be in trouble.
yep.
Okay, no matter what you did, no matter what you didn't drink, you're going to be in trouble. So I'm very conscious of who's around me, where I get that Pepsi from, who brought it, what location I'm at, all of it. And again, I don't focus on, I mean, I do, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't go over the top on it, but I do make sure that whoever is bringing me something, that's exactly what I ordered,
Yep.
you know, because
Absolutely.
I just don't want the headache,
Yep.
you know. And in today's world, my suggestion is that one needs to, you need to be vigilant. You need to look out for what is going on and know what your surroundings are. Everybody's not your friend, you
Mm,
know, and there are people out there that do want to destroy, especially if you've got long-term sobriety, and they don't agree, like, they don't agree with what I'm saying. It's like, look out, Jack.
yep.
So we all got to be careful of that one. That's for sure.
Yep, absolutely. One of the toughest lessons I had to learn, you shared right there. Not everybody's your friend. And that's a good thing. It does you a favor.
Does you a favor, you bet. But
Yeah.
the community piece, the actual quote AANA, whatever you're going to, the community piece, I think is extremely valuable. But I also believe that you need to pick and choose out of that group
Yeah.
that you are hanging out with. all right? Because not everybody in AA or NA is that upstanding citizen that they want everybody to think that they are.
Yeah.
So you have to be vigilant once again. You have to know who you're hanging with. You can also hang with your friends that you've known for a long time that don't drink or don't use, because you have some friends like that.
Yeah.
And the friends that you do have that you want to hang with, they're, if they are your friend, they are not going to drink or use around you.
Yep.
And they're the ones that are going to go, no,
Yep.
you're not doing this. I'm not going to allow you to do it. I've
Yep.
got those friends as well.
Yep.
You know? So that's what you need to be doing.
Well, and you have to, and so for any newcomer to recovery that's listening, or a loved one of them, is understand that discernment is going to grow. It's going to take time.
Yeah, takes time.
And you have to start to learn to exercise that much better. And even like you said, within the recovery community, and that's why there's that saying of, you know, get connected to those who have what you want. And that's not a nefarious thing. And we're not talking about you want their wife and their car and their income, although you may want a relationship like they have with their spouse or the type of income that they generate. There's nothing wrong with that. But looking at them as a role model, a leader, a mentor, that's an important part of it. So let's
Yes.
jump into one of the biggest factors that could play such a key role in all of it, home. I mean, that home and what you grow up in or you currently live in, or like I was saying near the top, come those holiday seasons, key and vital area too, where you have to learn to start to practice your discernment. If it's Uncle so and so, and come the holidays, you know Uncle so and so, he don't give a damn. He's going to bring his brandy or whatever the heck it is, and doesn't care where you're at. You might have to just practice the, all right, that's fine. I'm not going to be there. And
That's
that's
right.
hard to do, but you got to put on your mask first.
The only way I can put, you're right, and the only way I can put that is over the years I have been on my soapbox for that one, and for the families that have listened, their loved ones are doing just fine.
Hmm.
For the ones that don't, or think I'm full of shit, or whatever the case may be, they're not. And but I want people in recovery to know this. There will come a time in your recovery where, yeah, you can be go back home and people can have a cocktail around you. I'm there. It doesn't bother me.
Same.
But here's the difference. When I go to a family function and I'm just hanging around, believe it or not, again, don't care if you believe it or not, my family is watching. They're watching. They don't make a big thing about it, but I tested it out. I think I was about I think I want to say 7 years sober, and so we were
I'm
at my
laughing
brother.
because I know this story.
Yeah, so we were at my brother-in-law's house, and of course, the cocktails are coming out. I can't remember what holiday it was, and I go, I'll bartend, and everybody's like, huh? Now 7 years into it. So I remember sitting behind the bar, and everybody was kind of they could see me, right? And I go, oh, screw it, I'm going to have a Jack and Coke. And I started to pour the Jack, and everybody goes, no. And I just go, got you. Okay. I mean,
Uh,
so there, I don't know what that point is for everybody,
sure.
but I'm here to tell you in that first 4 years, it could be disastrous for you.
Sure.
It could be disastrous. Alcohol is part of our society. No
Yeah.
matter how you shake the tree, it's a part of our society. It's going to be there. It's always going to be there. It's not going away. There's no more they're not taking away our alcohol. So
Prohibition.
prohibition. So guess what? You're going to have to deal with it at some point. You're going to have to deal with it at some point. But that first 4 years, you tell everybody in your family, no, if we want to do Christmas, let's do it at our house.
Yeah.
But we're not having any alcohol. And whether people want to like it or not, I don't really care.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, this is a life-saving thing. I'm telling you, this isn't. I don't get anything out of it.
Yeah.
I don't get one damn thing out of it.
Yeah.
I want to see people that have a shot at this thing. You know, I and real quick, I have seen over the years the amount of people that have been, an example, an opiate addict, but they didn't drink during their opiate use because it ruins our opiate buzz. That's pretty basic. But now that you don't have the opiate buzz because you were never an alcoholic, now you start picking up drinking again. Well, all of a sudden now you're drinking a little bit more than you did the last time, and then a little bit more than the time before that, right? And now you're kind of on that road again. Not saying you're turning into a full-blown alcoholic, but you certainly are starting the pattern.
Yep.
And that doesn't need to happen.
Yep. Yep. And I've said that to people before where they're like, well, it's my family and they do whatever. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't excuse anything for your well-being because, okay, so what if they're snorting crushed pills or doing blow or smoking a ton of weed or whatever? Are you going to show up? No, that's terrible. It's like, well, how's it any different? And the
Right.
excuse, well, it wasn't my drug of choice. It doesn't land with me. How many people have we seen that their method of getting off something is quickly finding that other thing? And so that again, that level of discernment and agency for yourself to advocate and state what does and doesn't work for you is imperative.
Yes.
And people don't like it. I don't know. And oftentimes, if they don't like it, it's a reflection of their self perspective. They may not even like their own damn drinking or usage.
Well, then that brings up a good point. That brings up the point that now we're as we always have, we've dealt with that, that 18 to 25-year-old, right? And you've got parents that sure, they're good if their kid is screwed up and they want to send them to treatment, that's great. But those parents are still smoking pot and drinking at home
Mm-hmm.
because we can't stop what we do. I mean, I've seen so many parents that are selfish in that regard,
Yeah.
But Jason, it all goes back to one thing in this world that we're in. One thing. I wish we could say this to the world. I wish I could say this to Donald Trump. Nobody understands addiction. Nobody. We don't even talk about treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep beating that dead horse. We still have the drugs coming in. We're still loaded with alcohol, and nobody talks about treatment, and there hasn't been any change in it.
Yeah.
Except for what we're trying to do now. But I mean, that's the sad piece. Because those parents, they don't want to come to the parent meetings because they really don't want to learn about it.
Yeah.
Even their kid is as screwed up as they are. It's not my kid. My kid will be just fine. Well, 10 years down the road, let's come back and give me a call.
Yep.
Let's see how they're doing, because I guarantee they're not.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
And this is why these four key areas are important. Again, you got to examine the home. You got to examine the community. You got to examine values to find purpose, and you got to explore faith. And if you don't, okay, good luck building those new healthy neural pathways that are backed up by positive action, discipline, and so on. All right.
choice is theirs.
Choice is theirs.
Choice is theirs.
And it's a powerful choice. And I guarantee you, there's two men here talking right now. It's the best damn choice you could ever make.
Right. No matter what we're going through, no matter what we've been through, no matter of anything, that is the best choice we ever made.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to lend, Mr. Anderson?
I think that's a mouthful right there.
Well, on that note, thank you for watching on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/at Pain Nonprofit. Or as always, you can listen to us on Apple Podcast and Spotify by searching Don't Hide the Scars. If this is your first time, hey, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Leave a thumb up on the video, a comment, and please share with someone else that you think will get value out of it.